Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is, Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM-certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, just look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. Welcome into episode 155 of The Mom Game. I'm Emily Jones. She's Julie Dobbs. Quick car note. So I keep getting emails about because I ordered a car from Gateway Buick GMC. And so I got an email probably 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, after I ordered it, and which literally took 10 minutes. They were like, what color outside? What color inside? You want a sunroof? You want a moonroof? You want 4-wheel drive? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, your vehicle has been approved for production. I was like, sweet. And then I was thinking April, May, whatever. And then I just got an email this week that was like, congratulations, your vehicle has been it's been built. So I don't know what comes next, like an inspection, if they got to inspect it, and then I don't know where it's coming from, but whatever. So I'm getting updates.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be riding around.
It's like when you order pizza and it's it's in the oven.
Okay, so
how long do you get to my house?
So I did Domino's, which holler Domino's if you want to sponsor the Mom Game. Yeah. We're big Domino's family.
So are we.
So I had 40 boys at my house for cotillion.
Oh my goodness.
40 boys and their moms. For the cotillion pre-party, which thank God is only 45 minutes. It's basically let them run around and get comfortable and take a picture and then go and ask girls to dance and vice versa. And so I had a lot going on that day. So I ordered the pizza the day before, scheduled it for a 4:45 delivery, and then I hadn't got I was worried, so I went and checked, and it was giving me updates it's in the oven and it's being inspected by Ralph, and he's gonna bring it to you.
Ralph,
and I'm
S.
This is
Send
amazing.
him a high five.
Yes. Yeah. High five. Keep going, Ralph. Yeah. And so hey, Domino's or any other pizza establishment that would like to.
We need pizza people.
I need pizza in my life.
We do.
Yeah.
How many pizzas feed 40 boys and their
moms? So I ordered freaking 8 pizzas and it was gone.
Yeah.
In literally.
Are they at 2 pizza a session?
I don't know.
Or sorry, 2 slices per person phase, or does it go up as they get older?
Well, as you can imagine, I was a little OCD about having 40 boys in my house.
Did you take orders?
No. I made them eat in the garage. But our garage is really nice and clean. I believe you. I would eat off the floor in my garage.
I've seen it.
Yes. So we have this great cabinet that I could just put all the pizza out. The only one thing is this one sweet mom, God love her. So she, I had a couple moms brought water and whatever. And this one mom brought 5 large things of lemonade that we were going to have to pour in glasses. And I can't remember which one of my friends was this is not a good idea for you. This is not, put it in the refrigerator, use it at another time. This is not a good idea for you. And I was like, okay, I appreciate you for recognizing that. I'm putting it in the fridge in the garage and we're going to move on.
I can see all of that. Yeah. I would be the lemonade mom.
Yeah. But
I would be
look, hey, I brought lemonade.
Yes.
I'm the cool mom that brought lemonade. And then you've got the bitchy mom that's
the bitchy OCD mom that's this isn't the right thing to bring.
Wait, I need individually packaged waters and sodas, please.
This makes it more stressful instead of less.
Then I have to get cups out, and what if they spill? And God bless me.
Yeah, I'd be here I am with
look, this is the best lemonade ever.
Country time.
It's I whipped up a picture myself.
Yeah, it's really good.
So anyway, I was proud of myself for hosting, and now I checked that off the list, and we move on for Cotillion. But Cotillion's super cute. Like,
I've heard about
fifth grade. It's so fun, and it's all awkward, and they come home and they don't want to talk about it.
Dancing, like there's a lot.
But I did tell Henry, I'm like, if you don't want me to chaperone, I won't chaperone, and he doesn't want me or Mike to chaperone, and I'm like, that's fine. I'll just go.
To the dance.
So actually, there has to be parents there, and you can sign up to do it. And I'm like, do you want me to chaperone? And he's like, I actually really don't.
Wow, good for Henry for speaking up.
Right. And so I'm like, fine. If you don't want me there, I'm not going to force myself on you. Like, there will be plenty of other times in your life where I can force myself into situations, and I'm going to sit this one out. So yeah, Cotillion was great. The 40 kids, Domino's, holler at us. So yeah,
that's awesome.
I forgot where I was going with that.
I don't know, but I love it because Cotillion's happening in my neck of the woods too. Like, not my kids, but I hear about it with like the 6th grade moms and all that, and I've seen some videos, and it's just so cute, learning the little dances and all that.
Yeah, and manners and so as I shove this audio cord under my ass. No, it really looked very awkward.
Did you just talk about teaching your kids manners while picking a wedgie?
I wasn't picking a wedgie. I was shoving the audio cord under.
I don't believe
my butt, so it's not sticking out. Okay. Whatever. I know you don't. Okay, so what's been going on? So we have a really great. So I am. Shut up! Leave me alone. I wasn't picking a wedgie. Because you know what? I don't have fucking underwear on. So F you. I don't even have a wedgie. So there. Deal with it.
Your pants can wedge?
Well, they're not. They're not. Okay, so we have a really great guest today. His name is John Delony. He's super awesome. And anyway, we'll get to him in a minute. But our little back, we're not. I'm so sorry if you've tuned in for the latest on the Stars, Rangers, Mavericks, and Cowboys.
We're not going to have that today.
We're not going to have time today. So just go check Twitter and figure it out.
Listen to the Speakeasy on 97.1 The Free.
There you go. People are still playing sports and all the stuff. We'll be very sportsy at another day.
Things are generally okay.
Yes. We're all
with the Mavs and the Stars.
Yes. So anyway, we've had some moments come up in our moments in our life that we need to get to just to catch up, because it's been, I don't know, a week, whatever.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, we need to tell everyone about our friends at Panther City, because they have a big match coming up. Is it a match? Lacrosse match? Did we figure that out?
Sounds right.
Anyway, Panther City's amazing. Yeah. Panther City Lacrosse. We've been there with our families, had a blast in Fort Worth, and they've got a game coming up here very, very, very soon. Yeah,
it looks like their next game is going to be March 4th at 7 o'clock at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. Then the next one's going to hit you at March 24th at 7 o'clock. Then you have April 1st. Then you have April 21st. We went to a lacrosse game with both of our families. It was so much fun. Ryder's still talking about it. It was great. It was a lot to look at, a lot to do. The food was good. The arena was small enough to where you don't have to deal with traffic and you don't have to pay $50-something. And do you have a parking pass? None of that. It's easy. So we just want to spread the word as moms who are recommending things to do with your kids. Sometimes it's hard to find those weekend things to do where you can go and you can have Friday night or Saturday night plans, still get home at a decent time and have some good family fun. And that's what it is at Panther City Lacrosse. We are so grateful for their partnership. And it's fun. I like I actually follow them on social media, and I feel like, people are really into it. People are into the games. People are into the fights. They're winning. It's fun. So go enjoy it. Panther City Lacrosse, we are so thankful for
and there's a special link for you to buy tickets on our link tree. Isn't that what it is? Our link tree?
Yep, on Instagram. Go to our link tree, and then you can click on that, and you'll get that special offer.
Make a confession? I don't really know what our link tree is.
Really?
Okay.
Our link tree is awesome.
Is it?
Our link tree is like the shortcut for all of the things we talk about.
It's ironic that you should bring that up, because you know what? I haven't been able to get on Instagram.
That's true.
Because I don't know if I got hacked. I don't know if I don't know. I was unable to get on Instagram for almost a week. At first, I was like, I'll just try on my computer. I'll do all the things. I'll delete the app. I did all the troubleshooting things. I did all the clicking on this. Did this work? No. Did this work? Click, 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 click on this help article. Click, click. So finally, I was like, I don't really need Instagram. And then I'm like, day 5, and I'm like,
was it 5 days?
Yes. And so of course, my OCD anxiety was like, God, think of all the red circles I'm not clearing out. Think of all the bubbles.
But they're dead.
The DMs, right? The red circles go away. I mean, that's a 24-hour cycle. But then I'm thinking, like, what about the DMs? What about the stuff? So anyway, I'm like, and two, I'm starting this, which by shameless plug, my Leukemia and Lymphoma Society campaign officially kicked off this week. So if you want to help me raise money for blood cancers, children's cancers are one of the most underfunded in the whole realm of things. And so I originally said no to this a year ago, this project. I had too much going on, but this year I was like, I'm going to do this. I feel passionate about it. I want to raise as much money as I possibly can for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So if you would like to help my efforts, I would so appreciate it. If you have a business that wants to support it, partnership with me, sponsorship, whatever. If you want to donate $5, I would be forever grateful. So you can go to, now my Instagram is back up. You can go to my Instagram and go to my Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. I put it all over there. So I thought, if I'm going to have an effective campaign with this Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Visionaries of the Year, I got to get my social media back up and running, and Instagram's a huge part of that. So I put out a tweet finally on, I guess it was like Tuesday, and I was like, hey, Twitter.
I saw this. Hey, Twitter world.
Hey, Twitter world. I haven't been able to get into my Instagram account for a week, and I've tried all the things. Let me know if anybody can help. So immediately I started getting blown up with like, oh, Spy Guy 24 can help you, and this guy 23 can help you. So I'm like, oh, well, so many people are recommending these people. And so I slide in the DMs, and I'm like, hey, I hear you're an Instagram, savior. Like, how does this work? And so
who are they recommending?
Okay,
like just one particular account.
So there's two different accounts that came like literally 10 people commented on each of these guys.
Okay.
One of them was Trevor _spy. And the other one was Gerald Dillon, George Dillon 89.
Okay. So
I messaged George Dillon 89 first, and we go kind of back and forth. And he's like, I'm going to need your email associated with the account. I'm like, no problem. Like, it's not private information. Like, anybody has access to that, whatever. Here's my username, blah, blah. And they're like, all right. The server code cost is $285.
Oh, no.
And I was like, whoa. He was like, after you receive the reset link in your email, then you make a new, stronger password for your account. I'm like, my shit was pretty strong. Like, I don't know if this is the problem. Whatever. So then I'm like, where would I even purchase this? And I'm like, it seems like a scam. He's like, why? Because there's a fee. It seems like a scam.
Uh-oh.
It's gotten from a NetSpark web. And I'm like, not necessarily think it's a scam, but who do I even pay? Who is your merchant? Like, we kept going. And finally I was like, I'm out. I don't believe you. Like, you're dumb. So then I get the Trevor Spy guy, and he's like, I can help you. Yeah, for sure.
He reached out to you? Or
no, I reached out to him.
Okay.
And I'm like, how much do you charge to recover a disabled IG account? So then I give him okay. Then I give him my username and my email associated. And he's like, $77. I'm like, bargain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's go. So he sends me the Venmo to send the $77 to. I mean, again, you're talking about and I clicked on the profile, like the link or the tweets of the people who were tweeting about this guy. And it's like, Susie Homemaker in Ohio. Like, it's not like bots, but apparently, whatever. Now I know what it was. So I send $77 to somebody named Nicole, and I screenshot and then send it to him. And I'm like, okay, we're good to go. And he's like, oh, sorry. Now you'll need to pay my service fee. And I'm like, oh, no. I said, okay, geez, how much is that? And he was like, my service fee is $200. So I'm like, now I'm at $277.
Oh no.
And I'm like, that's BS. You should have said that up front, which all the while I'm also nervous because I'm like, this dude knows shit about shit. Like, he doesn't know anything about me personally, as far as other than what's out there on social media. He knows my account name. The email associated with my account name is on my, I haven't given him personal information that's not already out there. But I'm like, if he's some sort of like cyber whiz, is he going to fuck my life now?
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of treaded a little bit lightly, but I was like, that's BS. You should have been upfront. And he's like, I only request for my service fee when I'm done with my job. And I'm like, no, I'm out. I'm like, you should have I said, you should have been upfront. And I said, tell Nicole to enjoy her $77. Oh, no. I should have known better. And then he's like, I'm sorry for that, but I only requested my service fee when I'm done with my service. Yeah. And I was like, makes zero sense. Now I don't believe anything you're saying. And he's like, I'm sorry, my fault. And I accept that. And I'm like, all good. Lesson learned. Enjoy your evening. Peace out. So then this sweet man, which I won't say his name publicly because I don't want him to get inundated with people. So he reached out on Twitter as well and was like, I actually work for Meta. I cannot promise you anything. This could take a week or two. You know, there is a process we can go through that I can check your account, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, I would be so grateful. And so anyway, he was, and then the first thing he said to me was, what did he say? Let's see. He said, if there, what did he say?
Don't reply to
no, he said,
these people.
Sometimes I get, and he's like, let me see what I can do. Also, if anyone ever tells you they can get you back in for a fee, turn and walk away. And I was like, damn it, why didn't I reach out to you first? So anyway, because this was just this one guy. And he was so nice, so helpful.
That was a real, like, did you know that person?
I did not know him. I did do a little
digging,
Twitter stalking. He seemed awesome. He talked about the Rangers and he was like, he was like, you've given P1s like ticket listeners over the years and Rangers fans. Cause I was like, dude, Rangers game on me, like tickets, like for sure. Cause he's not asking for any payment or anything. And so he helped me and I ended up getting back in, but I remember I told you about my mom getting scammed and I was like, Mom,
yes,
how could you be so naive? Like, don't you think? And then I'm like, I got scammed. But I was like, I mean, I guess kind of a win that it was $77 instead of $285. But I was like, $285. Well, so I texted our social media guy, our partner, Adam. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, no, don't run. And I was like, no, I got a new one. It's a bargain, $77. He was like, sweet. It was Luka Doncic's birthday. He's like, sweet, 77 for Luka. It's meant to be. And then I'm like, an hour later, I texted him like, I got scammed. Like,
so he didn't suspect that either.
Well, no, he did. But he was like, this seems shady, but he's like, okay, $77 shady is one thing. Gotcha. $285 is totally different.
Yeah.
So hope you enjoy your $77, Nicole.
That is so annoying.
Scammers.
So can you just how did you lose your, how does that happen?
So it said reset your password. And then, so I tried to reset it. And when I would put in a new password, I tried a gazillion different passwords. When you hit the done, like you're supposed to hit done, when you've entered a new password, you've entered it a second time to make sure it matches. And then you're supposed to be able to hit the blue done button. Mm-hmm. Well, the blue done button would stay blue for literally half a second and then it would get grayed out. So I couldn't click on it. I tried, there is no customer service.
That's what I'm wondering.
So I would just end up clicking, and it would send me to articles, click. I mean, it was some of the most frustrating thing. And so God. For a few days I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then after like 4 or 5, I'm like, I'm thinking about the mom game stuff and the wine business. Like I do a lot of commerce and work stuff on social media and on Instagram, especially. I think maybe if I got locked out of my Facebook account, I might be like, okay.
Like whatever.
Whatevs. But like still, Twitter and Instagram, I'm kind of like, and LinkedIn.
Right. And it's frustrating to not be able to just like have someone help you.
Oh my gosh. It's so frustrating. Yeah. But I feel like it was that way with Amazon for a while. Now they're 10 times better. And I feel like a long time ago, it was that way with Apple for a while.
Yeah.
And now they've gotten so much better. Yeah. But like Meta, they're not fucking around.
I went through that just a little bit this morning. I'm going on a quick trip next weekend. I guess that's a piece of news.
Oh, wait, do tell.
I know, because we're not doing anything for spring break because Kelly's out of town the whole time. My mom's going to watch the kids. I'm going to work. It's very exciting. But it is my mom's birthday on the 12th, and we were talking about maybe trying to go to a Stars game in Seattle to see them and to see Kelly, just my mom and I for her birthday. That wasn't making sense time-wise, so now we are going to Kansas City for the weekend for my mom's birthday next weekend.
Who? You?
Me, my mom, and Anna.
Oh, fun.
Because my mom and I were going to go, and I was like, let's bring Anna. I just feel like I want to see her more these days. Yeah. And she's like really awesome. She's a really fun little stage right now. Like so cute and mature for a 4-year-old.
Okay, how does Ryder feel about that?
Well, my stepdad, Gigi's husband, LA, his grandpa is going to come stay with him.
Okay.
So he's going to
LA's cool.
LA's great. And they've never had a weekend alone together.
So they'll do all the fun things.
They might even go to the ranch. I don't know, but they're going to have like boy time.
And you know what? It really is good to like give your kids
Yeah.
Like separate time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great.
I was really proud of him because he's never had kids, my stepdad. And when Kelly and I first had kids, like he was very hands off. He loved them and was great with them, but like wouldn't do the diaper.
Yeah.
Like he was very like kind of scared of kids. Right.
Yeah.
And my mom and I were trying to plan this trip and he was like, I'll come stay with both of them for the weekend. I was like, what? It excited him. And so anyway, I ended up taking Anna because I wanted her, but Ryder and him will have a really fun time. So we booked a quick trip to Kansas City. That's where I went to school in Mizzou, So I have a lot of friends there. My mom has some mom friends there. So we're just going to go stay on the plaza and we're going to bring Anna. We're going to shop. We're going to see friends, have lunch, have dinner, and then come home on Sunday. I don't have to miss any work.
Fun.
Just a quick trip. So I kind of booked it like quickly with Southwest and I was trying to do Apple Pay and I thought it went through and it didn't. So I did it again and turns out both of them went through and I didn't realize it. So I had 2 charges for flights. And then I have this whole messed up situation going on. I never changed my maiden name with Southwest Airlines Rapid Rewards. I never changed it to Julie Forbes from Julie Dobbs.
Right.
And so anytime I want to use my Rapid Rewards, I use Julie Dobbs. Anyway, it all got very convoluted to where I was charged twice for the flight. And then when I was trying to change my name, they said they were going to cancel it and change my name, but they charged it for the first one. And then I called and found out I only get flight credit for the one that was canceled. I don't get money back. And it was only canceled to change my name from Dobbs to Forbes.
Stop.
Yeah. So this morning at 5 a.m.
Wait, I thought Southwest was being like uber cool. Like they've been great for a long time. And then now all the debacle over the holidays or whatever.
They've been like,
I thought they were like
talking to the 2 humans prior to this to do the other things. They were really good. But then the lady I was talking to this morning at 5 a.m. before my show, when I was all beat down and tired and realized that I'd been charged about $1,000 for a $200 situation. Anyway, I went to go to try to do it and it was all like you're talking about. It was like, is your problem about this? Oh, you click on this. Oh, okay.
Oh
well,
gosh.
now is it about this? We'll click on this. I'm like, can I just talk to someone about this?
I know.
Oh,
customer service.
Long
Emily.
story to tell you. Like I was dealing with that this morning and there's nothing worse than when you want to just get to the point and fix it and they make you jump through all these hoops. Customer service has taken a freaking dive. Like people just don't care because we will keep flying and we will keep using Instagram.
I know.
And we're the fools.
We are.
Anyway, I'm sorry that you went through that. I'm glad your Instagram's back up.
No, but word to the wise. Yeah. Do not pay someone to recover your Instagram account.
That's a good PSA.
Or any account for that matter. Don't.
Yeah.
Because I lost $77 because of that.
Oh, man.
So, but if you do run into that situation, holler at your girl and I will help you.
Yes.
I mean, not me personally, but I can point you in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you can. And I think to transition to our guest, when you're dealing with this little shit and it like annoys you way more than maybe it should, it's probably because you've got a lot going on.
Right. And you probably need to chill out.
And you probably need to chill out.
How do you chill out?
How do you chill out?
How do I chill out?
How do you chill out?
How
do I chill out? How do all of us chill out? How do we work on things with our husband, work on things with our kids, and stay sane?
But I chill out. There's a quick fix for me, and it's called Early Bird CBD gummies. In fact, I just emailed Eric, the owner of the company, just like before the show started. I was like, hey, can you please send me some good stuff and maybe expedite it because I'm out.
Did you ask him to expedite it?
I didn't ask. I just was like, I'm out.
Were you like, I'm breaking out in sweat?
And then I was tapping my vein. Just kidding. No, but it's been such a game changer for me. And actually my sister and I were texting today, my college aged niece who is 19, she'll be 20 this year. She's having stress. She's having stress from school. She's having stress from stuff. She can't sleep. And she's coming to visit next week. And I was like, I'm going to let her try some of the Early Bird just while she's here. Let's see how she likes it, if it works for her. So we're going to give that a shot with her. So I'll report back on that. But yeah, we are huge fans of Early Bird CBD in our house. So many friends of mine have now taken it on, have started, mixed it into their routine. And I mean, it really is a huge game changer for me. Yep. I mean, it's, nights where I'm like, I just want to turn it off. And usually like those nights I might have 2 glasses, maybe 3 glasses of wine to really come down. I don't have to do that because I can just pop a couple gummies and it accelerates the process. I chill, my mind shuts off or at least slows down and I'm able to really just kind of breathe
important.
and all that kind of stuff. So whatever it is, we all have our different ways of coping with things and of, bringing ourselves down and chilling out. For me, Early Bird has been a total game changer. So if you want to try them, please, please, please just try it. It's been a huge game changer, like I said, for me. So earlybirdcbd.com/TMG gets you 20% off of your first order. So we love working with Early Bird.
Also on our link tree. Go check it out. It makes it simple for you.
Yes.
So that's one way to work through things and chill out and relax. The other way, listen to this guy that we have coming up right now on the Mom Game. You won't regret it. We're going to work through so many things. I think we both almost cried. It was so good. Take the time, listen to this full interview. Here it is right now.
And without further ado, here he is, John Delony, rhymes with baloney. John, we're so excited to have you with us. You're a mental health expert, a best-selling author, and probably most importantly, you've got some West Texas roots, which speaks to me in a very, very pure way. As someone who was raised in Plainview, Texas, went to school at Texas Tech University. Get your guns up. So welcome to the Mom Game. We're thrilled to have you.
We're not raising guns up on most of the mom podcasts. So I'm already in. I love it.
Well, I appreciate that's very true.
We're a little different.
Yeah, we're very different.
We're also
John.
drinking wine.
We're drinking wine. It's afternoon here.
It's
in DFW.
It's for sure in the morning, but whatever.
No judgment.
Oh, you're right. It is still the morning. That's okay.
It's for sure not even noon somewhere, much less 5 o'clock.
I mean, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, John. This is what we've learned over time.
That's the most Texas momism thing I think I've ever done.
Okay, great.
Tell us, we're off to a great start. Tell us about your background. Where did you grow up? I picked things up kind of at the college level. LCU, Chaparrals, big fan of their sports programs and the fine folks at Lubbock Christian University. So tell us about your background.
I was born and raised in Houston. My dad was a homicide detective there in a SWAT guy in Houston. And then my mom, real quick, she grew up in a community that kind of one of their mantras was women had no business going to secondary education. Like after high school, you need to go find somebody to marry, and that's your role. So at the age of 42, my mom in Houston, she took her first community college class, and then she took another class. And my dad, of course, everybody's rooting her on the whole time. And she, at the age of 57, graduated with her PhD. And then at 64, she was tenured as a professor out there at ACU in Abilene. And she's in her 70s now, and this is going to be her last year teaching at Oxford this summer. So we're trying to figure out how to go visit her. So
I grew up badass.
with she's a gangster, dude. So I grew up with a dad in Houston who was a homicide detective, and then halfway through my life, he quit and became a minister. And then my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and then she spent time at Enron. Just a wild adventure. And then for college, I went out there to West Texas, and then I really just stayed for 20 years and did all my graduate work at Texas Tech and worked there for several years before I moved out here to Nashville.
So tell us how you become a mental health expert. I know you're a lot more than that, very accomplished, but right now I feel like it's something that's very necessary in this world. How did you find yourself in this spot? And then we'll dive into all the topics with you.
Well, I've learned if you have your own podcast, you can just say whatever. And so I'm not an expert in mental health at all. I just say it all the time, and eventually it just catches on.
There you go.
When someone says the word expertise, like I'm an expert, I think of a three-legged stool, and you have to have, and again, none of all three of these things are popular or cool to say out loud. So we'll just start there. You have to have the academic understanding. You've got to know what you're talking about, and you have to have read deeply on a subject. The second one is you have to have some personal experience. What we have now is a world full of people who had unexperience, and they like to cast that out as this is the way this is. Mm-hmm. I lost some weight on this particular diet, so this is the diet for everybody in the world, and I'm going to fight you to the death over it, right? Mm-hmm. Or I met God this way, and this is the only way to ever do this. So that's part of it. And then the third one is, have you walked alongside a number of other people and seen the different paths to the same destination? And so if you have all three of those, so there's people who know a lot about football, but if you've never tried to teach and explain it, then you don't know if it actually works, right? So all I have to say is I got 2 PhDs. One of them's in education, one of them's in counseling, both from Texas Tech, guns up. And I've just spent 20 years as a dean of students working with folks when the wheels have fallen off. And then I've also spent years working as a crisis responder with the police department there in Lubbock. And then I went and got a PhD in mental health, and I fell apart too, trying to be the most successful guy that had ever lived. And I fell apart trying to achieve that. And so that's where the expertise comes from.
Okay. How did you fall apart?
Man, I quite honestly, I just followed the path in front of me, which was you got to go to college, you got to spend this much money doing it, and you got to get this degree and in this order, and then you got to get this job, and that job is just exists to get you the next job, and that job just exists to get you the next one. And you need to make this much money by this date, and you need to get married, you got to have kids, and you got to do all these things. And so I just kept getting in line, and all of a sudden I woke up one day and I had 6 figures in debt and a house I was living in with a big mortgage that I didn't even want to be living in. And I was working a job that I wasn't overly passionate about. And I was doing 3 jobs at the time. And as the story goes, I was working at a university there in Texas. And one day I was walking to campus. By this time I was so my wife tells me I was like being married to a taser. I was just so electric all the time. I was so anxious, always looking at the next catastrophe, always wondering when it's all coming down. And I think it's important to call out here. Most people hear this story and then like, this is when you like cheat on your wife, and this is when you end up in jail. And I came back. This is when I got into drugs. I never did any of that stuff. I was just part of what I consider to be the silent millions and millions and millions of Americans who are just slowly burning themselves like a candle until they just cease to exist. And that was me. And one day I was walking across campus, and I turned back around and got in my wife's car. And by this time I was over so much. I was good at my job. I was good-ish at being a husband. I was good-ish at being a dad. And I just got in my car and drove 3 hours to another city where I had a buddy who was a medical doctor. And I walked into his office and said, "Hey, I'm not okay." And that was the start from what happens next.
Wow. I found you through Instagram, and then I started following you, and every single clip that you put out there is like, oh my gosh, this speaks to me. This speaks to my heart. I've sent some to my husband. I've sent some to Emily, and I immediately thought we have to get him on. I think it was a parenting one that might have been the initial one that drew me in. But just even hearing you speak right now, like I can think of so many people that are on that path to where you were. And a lot of times it is dads and it is men and it is people that feel this like burning desire to make all the money and do all the things and somehow lose themselves in that process. So now that you've been able to go through that yourself and self-identify it and come back around and help other people, like, are you seeing that is just way too prevalent in society these days?
Yeah. I mean, the last report that just came out said the average lifespan of a U.S. citizen went down again. We're dying younger in the most prosperous country that's ever existed, because we are literally grinding ourselves to death. And in our country, the question, I mean, you said it best. We answer the question, what are you worth, with a number? That's insane, right? And what's your net worth? What's your worth? What's that guy worth? What's she worth? Not how many relationships do they have, how many burning buildings they've run in, how many people they've saved, how many people trust them with the hardest moments in their lives. It's how many vacations do they not go on, how many hours does that idiot work, and how much do they buy or not buy? I mean, what a mad way to quantify our life, right? And by the way, men have a track, right? And I was on one. Women do too. Yeah. And I think women's can be more, more insidious. Men
you feel like
die,
you're constantly
right?
trying to like prove everyone wrong. It's like this. Yeah. You feel like
I watched, my wife was Dr. Delony before me. She was a fancy research professor. She's brilliant, 10x smarter than me. And she's a great mom. And I've watched her. And I remember a few years ago being like, oh, you can't win. Because if you're not out working and making more money than me and doing a great work, if you're out doing that, then the question is like, well, why aren't you home with your kids? You don't find them as valuable as your paycheck? And then if you stay at home, it's like, oh, cool. So we did hundreds of years of work for equality. You're just going to bail on us? Appreciate that, lady.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds herself in this twisted, what am I worth financially? And what am I worth with my kids? And if I have to make another lunch, I'm going to set the whole house on fire just to feel the warmth, right? All of it.
You feel us. You feel us.
Yeah. And so it's everyone just falls in a track, and then there's this expectation, and then it's not the same track our parents were given, and it's not the same track our grandparents were given. And so most of us feel like we're either going to go this route that's been laid before us, or we're going to have to get a machete and head off into the woods and start cutting our own path. And that's just uncomfortable. And it's hard. It's hard to do that.
Okay. So when you had that kind of epiphany walking across the parking lot and you made that 3-hour drive, it's like, I feel like, as men, women, parents, partners, whatever, we feel like I don't have time. I don't have time to focus on myself. I got too many other people to worry about. Too many other people are counting on me. Not while realizing all the while that if you don't take care of yourself, it's hard to fucking take care of other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they know. I was just recording on my show, and I'm talking with a firefighter who's also runs a full-time business, very successful guy. And what he told me was he had a bad couple of months where he showed up on multiple scenes with multiple children. And I'll just leave it at that. And he started buying things for his kids that he couldn't afford, because he's got on this loop, and he got on this loop, and he got on this loop that it's all going to go away. One of them's going to go away. I'm going to go away. I've got to strike while iron's hot. We need to go on all these vacations. I'm going to Disneyland. I'm going to these places that I can't afford, but we got to do it. And then as we got to the end of the call, he said, is there any way I can get well without my wife finding out?
No.
And I told him, brother, she knows. What she feels right now is she feels unlovable and not trustworthy because you won't invite her in to the real stuff. She feels crazy because she's trying to plug into a plug that doesn't have an outlet right now. And so in our people who work for us, they know we're not all right. They know. They create entire worlds to deal with this. How many meetings have you been to in your professional life? The meeting is about how we're going to tell the boss something. What an extraordinary waste of time. That's a boss that's not well, right? That's not whole. And so I think this illusion that we live with is like, I don't want them to find out. They're not going to know. Everybody knows. The problem with not being honest is they make up their own stories as to why you're not doing well. And that causes all kind of chaos.
Yeah. You brought up, I wanted so many things I want to hit on from what you just said, the mom stuff and the relationship
Sorry,
stuff.
I talk to, my wife tells me I'm a lot. So
no, you're not. Like, that's why you're so successful in doing what you do.
Pull it apart at any point.
You know, when you talk to somebody though, and like everything they say hits a chord and not just like one bullet point out of 5 minutes, like that's how you are. So it's awesome. And obviously you're doing something right. With the business that you've built and the people that want to hear you talk. And I know I was super excited to have you on today, but the relationship stuff, I want to just say, like, generic question wise, okay, a few good pieces of advice for like a healthy marriage, but what you even detailed there, it's like usually if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're married and you have kids, or maybe you're not married and there's no kids, but when somebody's acting out towards their spouse or acting out of character or starting fights, like, would you say it's usually because of other stressors in life and that's how outwardly that's what they put out because of it? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
it seems
totally.
like we're all trying to deal with so much, and then all of a sudden it'll just come out in random like fiery moments with a spouse, and maybe you're like, where did that come from? But it's all at the root of like, well, let's figure ourselves out before we spew this onto our family.
So let me answer that in two ways.
Okay.
The first way is, and this comes from the Esther Perel, the great Esther Perel, and the great Terry Real. Like, we are expecting things of marriage that have never been expected of it in human history. All up until about 25 years ago, and still stupid Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger looked at each other across that room. It's like, you complete me, and all right. All before human history. You got married for two reasons: because life was miserable and we're just going to do misery together and we're going to make babies and not die, or my dad traded me for a political position or so he can get some more land, right? Or he wanted some goats, right? That's why people got married. And then my grandparents, they were married 73 years, I think, 73. And when my granddad died, my grandma, I remember her saying something to the tune of she couldn't breathe. And I remember thinking, yeah, because one of your lungs is gone. After 73, you're fused together. You're a single entity. And what I realized is they became the idea that my knuckleheaded 18-year-old granddad, when he proposed, however old he was, the idea of soulmates didn't exist. That wasn't real.
Yeah.
And so they became soulmates after being in the trenches together for 70 years. And now we try to reverse engineer that and say, I want to find my soulmate and then do life. And that's not how it works, because one day your soulmate farts and one day your soulmate like doesn't shave and it's weird. And one day your soulmate like laughs at a joke and you're like, you think that's funny? You're terrible. Right. And so if you do it the wrong way, it doesn't work. Right. Yeah. It sounds like, oh, why don't we just go, the building's right there. Let's just drive that way. And it's like, that's a one-way street. You can't go that way or everybody gets in a wreck. Right. So that's number one. We're asking things. And let me tell you this, the two big things we're asking, women were lied to. Women were told, if you can just get economic independence, you can be rid of men forever. If you can provide for yourself, then you will finally be free of this Neanderthal idiot that you rely on because he's got bigger muscles than you and he's allowed to work and you're not. And what we found is women got economic independence. And the report I just read this morning from Bloomberg, women executives, CEOs, they got there and they're leaving in record numbers. This sucks. I gave up everything for this. This is terrible. And number two, men were told nothing has changed. If we could just get back to the way things were, then we would be fine. And both groups have been lied to. The reality is it's a gift. It's such a gift that women have achieved economic independence. The world needs their voice and their brilliance and their way of looking at problems and helping being part of these massive issues we got. And men have to learn that providing doesn't always mean killing something and dragging it somewhere. Provision also means care and love and connectivity and being present with children, being present and listening and not trying to solve everybody. And those are skill sets that we don't have. And so now there's this new masculine thing to like beat up men, and there's a new masculine thing to like reclaim that. I think both of those are futile. I think we have a new third path we got to take, which is we all have to learn some new skills to adapt to this new world.
And so how do we do that? Like, how do you?
I don't know. You figure that. If you write that book, you'll be a billionaire.
So what, I mean, but what do you tell people about adjusting those expectations, about the lies that we've all been told, about the path that people are trying to force us down as men and women in these roles as husbands and wives and fathers and mothers? What do you tell them?
So this is one of my favorite analogies I've ever heard. And Esther Perel, I think, was giving it to a couple who, one of them had cheated on the other one. And they were trying to decide whether they were going to continue being married after infidelity. And she said something that was the most brilliant thing. And I've used this analogy in 100 different places, but it applies here. She said, you could never go to Manhattan and sweep up all of the glass and the twisted metal and reclaim all the gas and sweep up all the sand and rebuild the concrete from the Twin Towers falling down. They fell. There's a period at the end of that sentence. That happened. The only two choices you have is to leave everything alone and walk away. Let the rubble lie and let Mother Nature reclaim itself. Or you can call some professionals, reimagine what this looks like, sweep up and clean up and excavate all that concrete, all that glass, and clear the site and develop and dream and build something arguably more beautiful and stronger than before. That's a monument to the past, but more importantly, it's an homage to where we're going. And so couples so much in the modern world, we're trying to, here's how stupid I was. When my wife got pregnant, we struggled with infertility for several years. She got pregnant with our son, Hank. And within a month, I realized, oh, things are different now. And I remember thinking, all right, cool. There's a clock ticking. In 9 months, I get my wife back. And then Hank was born. Good luck on that, Ace. Well, Hank was born, and real quick, I was like, all right, maybe 9 more months. So in 18 months, I'll get my wife back. And I kept saying, like, what, we got to be able to go out like we used to. And we got to be able to just make out whenever we want to. And we got to be able to, like, And I didn't fully take into account that life that we had is over now. There's a period at the end. Well, only option we have is to build something new that includes this guy in it. And then we had multiple miscarriages. So we had to build a life, not that grief didn't exist, but that grief was now part of who our marriage is, right? It was a part of us now. And then Josephine, my daughter, came along. She's a human hurricane. I took a lot of grad school. She says things and I look at her like, I don't know what to say next.
Yeah.
And that's my job. And you have rendered me speechless, 7-year-old. Like that's just what, and so we're having to build a new world. And so for folks who sit down and say this isn't working. I've tried to flex and scream and vote and yell and thumbs down on Facebook or whatever the new way to do it, like on Instagram. That's not working. And I've tried to nag and complain and walk out and text other people at work because they're make me feel more alive, whatever. None of that's working. Let's sit down like adults and say, okay, we have two choices. We can let our current relationship stay in ash as it is. We can let this current thing keep going and I'll go buy a Suburban I can't afford and you go get your self-worth out of running around with little Johnny on travel sports or whatever makes you feel good. And we can just do that until we just die. Or we have the opportunity, because we live in a pretty extraordinary place, an extraordinary moment of history, to build something completely new that we want to build. What's the world? What's the life we want to have? Let's start there and reverse engineer that sucker. And that's I've watched couples begin to do that and just unplug from the matrix, right? And say, what do we want to do? Like, I don't want this life. I want this life. And it's been extraordinary to watch it happen.
And it all looks different for everyone, right? Like
everyone's is different, which is super fun.
That's when you get to make your own. You get to make your own world. You get to build your own life. Like that's the whole kick-ass thing about this whole life thing. It's like
you only get one. You only get one.
We get to do whatever we want with it. But if you're not doing what you want with it, then fuck, what are we doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? You get one. You get one.
Yep.
You get one.
We talk about that a lot. Like, you fall in love with someone and get engaged and get married based on this one person and this life that you had where you could go out and the world was yours and you want to go to the bar, you want to go to the movies, you want to go on a vacation, let's go. Everything's great. But you had other stressors, but then you get married and then you have kids and all of a sudden everything changes. And it's like, how do you deal with those stressors? And that's when we all see a lot of marriages that just can't overcome that, or people are trying too hard to hang on to that past life, or there's
and you asked
drinking
a great question.
too much or whatever. You
asked a great question. I didn't answer it well. I want to go back to that question you asked. When people snap at their spouse, or they find this, they're running and running and running, and they're trying to do the best they can on the track they were given. They're living the life. They're running. They're getting the kids to school, and they're going to work, and they're getting the kids from school, and they're getting them to karate and then to dance, and they're going
so many things.
I'll use an example from a hypothetical example from my house. My father-in-law's a great guy. Both of my parents are great. So I'm saying that I'm just using them as an example. Let's say that my father-in-law was really rough growing up. And my wife learned that when his truck drives up the driveway, she should just get small. Just go in your room, shut the door. It's cool. Not abuse, no yelling and screaming. It was a lot. It was that, I call it the Sunday afternoon dad, right? That nuclear reactor dad. You can feel the energy. And when you ask, like, are you okay? Then he gets self-righteous and he's like, what? Why are you always bothering? Even though everybody knows, like, don't go near your dad on Sunday. Like that dad. So she knew I just need to disappear. Not in a bad way, but I'm just going to go in my room and color. I'm going to go in my room and read. I'm going to go in my room and write and do whatever. On the other hand, let's say that my mom, when she got mad at me, she would just look at me with disgust and would shut the door. So I learned I got to run towards love. I got to run towards it. And so then we get married and it's great. And then 2 years in, I get me a new F-150, a great car.
Yeah.
Or I get me a new Chevy. Whatever. I drive up the driveway and I open the door just in time to see my wife disappearing into her bedroom. And all she's doing is there's a little GPS system in her body that's designed for threat detection. And it has just said, hey, let's just go in here. Mm-hmm. We're going to get small. And I see her leaving the kitchen and I see her walking into her room, into our room. And my body goes, oh, she's leaving you. And I instantly run after her with my silly jokes or look what happened today. And her body says, you better get the crap out. You better get out of here now.
Yeah.
And now we're in a dance. And now our past is being dragged up by our bodies in the present. And we're going to war over battles we fought years ago.
Yep.
And so I'm always telling folks, the things that kept you safe as a kid, the things that kept you okay as a kid, as somebody dating in middle school or high school, those are the same things that will destroy your relationships in the present. And so you have to, it's all about minding the gap. It's, my body's telling me to run right now, and that guy loves me. Why is my body feeling like he's unsafe right now?
Mm-hmm.
Why is my body feeling like my wife doesn't like me right now?
Mm-hmm.
And let's be adults and call that out, not in an accusatory way, but like, hey, the way my wife does it is my body's telling me that you're mad. And I can say,
does she communicate that to you? Does she?
That's those exact words. That's how primitive we have to talk to one another.
Okay, so how did those conversations start? Because you don't, like, my husband and I went to therapy years ago, not very many years ago, but after kids and all that.
Like yesterday.
And listen,
it's on my to-do list.
Oh, it's a big, huge proponent of therapy, individually, couples, friends, whatever. And she basically was telling us, like, y'all don't know how to fight. You don't know how to have disagreements. Because y'all both collect, like, you lose your shit, Emily, and Mike is calm, and that makes you effing insane. And then it's just this terrible, like, y'all need to learn how to argue. You need to learn how to disagree, because you're going to. And so you need to learn how to do that. And so she gave us some tools, and I feel like we're better with, sometimes we revert, and, just because we're different emotional creatures. But, it's like you have to, how do you start that? How do you initiate that conversation? How do you hey, how do you get comfortable telling your spouse, like, my body's telling me you're fucked up and I need to get away from you? Like,
well, so here's what's important.
She cusses, by the way.
Sorry.
It's we're all good. Trust me, we're good.
Okay.
It's, I think all fights have to begin with I, not you. And so when I sit down to my wife and I say, hey, the story I'm making up, and this is something we took from Brene Brown, like, this isn't even from therapy. The story I'm choosing to make up is that you didn't respond to my texts, and I asked you if you wanted to hook up tonight, and there was nothing. And the story I'm choosing to make up is you don't want to be around me right now, and I'm kind of annoying. That's different than not saying anything and letting it build and build and build and have an explosion a month from now. That's different than saying, hey, you never respond to my text. That's bullcrap. That's me saying I'm taking ownership because I'm the only one that can make me feel bad. That's me. That is on me. And I get to choose whether I allow my kids to hurt my feelings. I get to choose whether I allow my wife to hurt my feelings. And so I'm going to just say, hey, when you said this thing last night, I chose to be hurt by that. That hurt when you said that. That's about me, not about you. Mm-hmm. And if I come at you, you have to defend yourself. Right? Just like in the street, if I just come swinging at you, dogs even, they'll show their teeth. They're like, hey, we're about to get in a fight. You got a chance to leave. And then the dog can choose to leave. It's just simply that. Like, I am not feeling okay right now. I'm making up stories. I feel like you're upset. Not, why are you mad at me? And one is an invitation and one is, let's just go to war.
Yeah. I want to shift a little to parenting because I feel like it goes with exactly what we're talking about. Okay. So we have all of that we just worked through or talked about.
We just solved it. We just solved marriage. We solved marriage.
Marriage is fixed.
So you've got all that. That's a lot. Everything we just talked about. You have these two people that are going through all that. And then you've got kids. And then you've got the perception that you want your kids to have this perfect childhood, to think that their parents are perfect. Maybe not perfect, but good role models and good leaders and not people who are like having these little fiery fights behind closed doors, right? Or whatever it is, working through things as a couple. You've got the kids there. It's a whole nother element. What do you tell people, I guess, about navigating that and not letting it bleed into your kids and trying to make sure that your kids are being brought up in a calm, safe, warm environment to where exterior factors like their parents having things or work
to
things
where they're not going in their rooms and coloring when their dad pulls up.
Yes. Like, so you see what I'm saying here.
Calm and warm are not, those aren't mutually exclusive from one another.
Okay.
They don't have to be together. Let me back all the way out, okay?
Yeah, I know. It's a big question. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's a great question. It's a great question. And I think we need to have this conversation more. I'm going to get the dates wrong, so I'm just going to make them up because it makes me sound smarter, but they're probably not accurate. I'm going to say in the 80s, maybe early 90s, there was some studies done on CEOs, on people who were famous, who had been very successful is a better way to say that. And they dug into the data, like what made these folks successful? How are they successful? And one of the unifying characteristics of all these folks is they really believed strongly in themselves. And so we tried to reverse engineer that and say, okay, let's give that to our children. Mm-hmm. These guys think they're incredible. They think they're wonderful. Let's just start telling kids when they're 4 how wonderful and great they are. And by the way, let's stop letting them get hurt ever. Let's stop letting them have trials. We just need to give them this thing. And what we're finding out now is our bodies know. I can say, I can fight that guy. I can fight that guy. I can fight that guy. But my body knows I don't know what I'm doing. I could get that. I could do that job. I could do that job. But my body knows you don't know what you're doing. And so what we've done is we've had a generation of kids we made crazy. We told them they were great, how wonderful they were. And they know,
my gosh,
I don't know.
True.
A friend of mine out in West Texas, he called. He actually called and said, man, a guy needed help. His boat fell off his, the trailer. Uh-huh. And so he called a group of guys from his church to come over and help put the boat back on the trailer. And so he grabbed his 7-year-old son and he goes, hey, we're going over to help so-and-so. That's incredible. You want your kids seeing that you've got friends and that people call on you and that you show up in the middle of the night to help. That's awesome. So he showed up and he told his son to step back over there. They all picked the boat back up. Everybody high-fived. They probably had a beer and a couple pieces of pizza and then they went home. And on the way home, he said, he looked at his son. He goes, wasn't that awesome that we got to help that guy? And his son looked at him and said, Dad, I didn't do anything. And he goes, oh man, I just got called out. He lied to his son. Yeah. His son knew I didn't do anything. I stood there. I didn't do crap.
Yeah.
And so, but we're like, hey, didn't we? No, we didn't. So
I'm so guilty of that sometimes, being like, you did such a great job. And my kid he will literally say that. Like, I actually didn't do anything.
I'm just standing here, Mom.
Mom, like, I did nothing. I didn't do a great job. And so,
fuck, you're right. You didn't.
As a parent, there's a couple of things that's important for us to do. Number one, we have to stop robbing our kids of the opportunity and blessing and gift of failure, of falling down. We have to stop taking that from them because they're turning into 22-year-olds that get their first feedback from their boss, and it's not a shining star. It's, hey, we hired you because you're supposed to help us make money because we're running a business, and you didn't do a great job this quarter. Next quarter, you got to step it up. And they have no psychological wiring to deal with that. And that is not on that generation. That's on parents. That's on us. I stole that from my kids, and I got to let them have that. The second thing is some of the parenting wisdom back in the 80s and 90s was if you have to fight, go in the back room. Don't scare the kids. Mm-hmm. And what we did, again, was we stole the opportunity for kids to see two people who love each other and who are committed to the end of time, but who got really pissed off today because you keep peeing on the toilet seat, idiot, and you keep overspending right? We stole that from our kids.
Too many Amazon
deliveries. It's critical that we have disagreements in front of our children.
I am doing that right. We argue in front of our kids. Point me.
Yeah, way to go. You've got one thing. There was a third thing I was going to tell you too. That's super important with our kids.
Kids.
I was just so excited that you finally got one thing right. I just want to celebrate.
I know.
It's the first.
She's proud of herself.
Okay, so you said stop robbing them of failure. Stop pretending like you have to go to a back room to fight.
We have to stop using our kids as our personal report card. Parents are using kids' athletic performance as an indicator of a barometer of how well they're doing. We're using our kids' grades and how much they say yes, sir, and no, sir, and how they dress and what their shoes look like as markers for what our parent performance.
Yeah.
And our kids can't hold that weight. That's not their job to prop up our faltering self-esteems.
Jesus.
Their jobs.
It's so true. How old are your kids? Because it gets worse as they get older.
13 and 7.
Oh, yeah. So you're in it. You're in it.
Oh,
you
dude.
know, yeah.
That's like you, Em.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 11 and 9. But
she's 11 and 9. I'm 7 and 4.
I'm just telling you, giddy up, Julie. Because
listen, here's what, a thing that my son did. I was a 2-year varsity starter on Texas high school football. Can't let it go. I'm that guy. Okay. Went to college on a track scholarship. I'm that guy.
I'm married to that
my son came to me. My son came to my wife and I. This is 2 years ago. And he said, I need to have a family meeting. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got somebody pregnant. You're not. It wasn't the conversation. And he said, hey, I want to have a family meeting. And he said, Dad, I'm hoping that this is okay. But instead of playing baseball this spring, I would like to be in the theater production at my school. Now, I did theater in college too, and I credit most of my career success actually with my acting and theater training. It's been incredible. Mm-hmm. And I was like so proud of him for like having the ideas that he wanted to do something and he's going to go after it. And I gave him the same speech McConaughey's dad gave him, like, okay, but you got to go all the way in and you got to work hard. And he's like, yeah, I'm in. And then when he left, I looked at my wife and I was like, hey, Delony's played baseball because I played baseball and my dad played baseball and my granddad played baseball. Like, I realized I'm trying to put this fantasy expectation on this other human being. It's not fair. It's not his job to carry my latent dreams with him. That's not his job. And so as parents, we've got to stop using our kids as barometers and report cards. We've got to stop saddling them with our fantasies, our things that we didn't accomplish. If I just worked harder, I would have gone pro. We all sound like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. Shut up. Right? What we have to do as parents is honor our kids and who they are and the weird little art kid or the weird little football player or the weird little track kid. And we have to teach them, okay, cool. You're going to go after that one, but you got to work hard and you're going to have to face rejection. And I'm not going to protect you from rejection, but I'm going to be here when it happens. And the research says, contrary to popular belief, the more connected young kids are with their parents, the more hugs, moms and dads, the more touch, the more connectivity there is, the more autonomy they have when they're adults. So the idea is when they're 4 and 5, quit hugging them. They got to get out there and get tough. The world's not a great place. What we send out into the world is clingy, fragile human beings. But the kids that feel anchored into the bedrock of mom loves me, dad loves me, and not just, but dad will hug me, dad will hold my face and look me in the eye and say, I'm so grateful every minute of every day that I get to be your dad. And do that with your sons too. The number one, dads tell me, like, what's the one piece of parenting advice for me and sons? Front hug your sons. Hug them and put both hands behind their back and hold them tight to where it's uncomfortable. Let them know through your body language that you love them and you're proud of them, right? That creates kids that go on to be surgeons and that go invent things because they know that come what may, come hell or high water, I got 2 people that have got my back no matter what. And that allows kids to anchor off. So it's opposite of what we think. So that's my thoughts on parenting. I think we solved that one too, right?
Yeah. Marriage check, parenting check. Because at the end of the day, right? Like all I want, like I want my kids, 2 things. I want them to not be assholes and I want them to be happy.
Okay,
and
can I give you the 2 things?
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Because your kids watch everything you do. They absorb.
I try so hard. I try.
I
really
know,
hard.
but you're not doing. I'm just kidding. You might do great. I'm being.
He knows.
And the second thing is,
he knows.
I think happiness is a terrible dance partner.
Okay.
Because if you chase happiness, you end up. Happiness is cocaine and fireworks. Happiness is the cup of water on the marathon journey. If happiness becomes your destination, that's when you end up in a house that you don't want to even be living in, that you can't afford, in a car that you can't afford. That's YOLO. That is, I'm going to do whatever I can to avoid discomfort. That's like lifting weights with no weight on the bar because the weights are heavy. That's the point of lifting weights. What I want to do is I want to give my kids, I want to teach them what a joyful life looks like. And joy includes grief. It includes loss. It includes heartbreak. It's not an avoidance of things. Happy is avoidance of all negative things. And that's a terrible way to live because that's not how the world works. That's when, like, my 93-year-old granddad died and somebody leaned over and said, I'm sorry about this tragic loss. And I actually I made it uncomfortable. I was like, this isn't a tragedy. My granddad was married 73 years. He's a World War II vet. He's an incredible dad of 4 kids. He's the best grandfather I could ever have dreamed of. He lived a wonderful life. This is what happens when you're 93. This is the way it's supposed to be. It's not a tragedy. It's an is. And I'm so grateful for the time I got with him. And so we just have this world that we've created where we don't want bad things to happen because we want everybody to be happy. Man, that's just a dangerous world that we've created.
Okay. I love that. So there's the difference between living a joyful life and living a happy life, being happy and being joyful, which I think is a good. Yeah. Okay,
And here's the difference.
Let's take
Here's the
away the
difference.
point that I got for arguing in front of my kids. And then
No, your
so
kid
back
come
to
home.
zero.
Here's what this looks like in real life. Your kid comes home. It says, "Mommy, I got a D on that test." And you don't say, "Oh, honey, that's because your teacher's stupid and you don't even need this stuff."
Yeah.
That's trying to help your kid be happy. To wallpaper over failure, wallpaper over, hey, you weren't good enough this time. Your grades didn't reflect, whatever. Or, yeah, your teacher's a jerk, and you're going to have bosses that are jerks. And so part of life is navigating jerks, right? That's part of life. Did you get your work done, right? Seeking out joy is saying, "Come here. I want to give you a hug. I love you." When you're ready, maybe in 30 minutes, I want to spend some time reflecting over what happened with this, D. Did you put in all the effort? Did you work as hard as you could? Because if you worked as hard as you could, I'm going to high five you and just say, yeah, I've had some moments when I went all in on the presentation at work and it just flopped. It was terrible. Or what can we do different next time? That's choosing joy. That's not avoiding the discomfort. I'm going to, but I, as your parent, I'm going to feel it with you because I'm your mom. I'll sit with you.
Yeah.
Right. That's the difference.
Do you like offer your services to like come and live with people for a couple of weeks or just
Well,
like
I would
hang
except
out
my
at their
house
house?
is a dumpster fire. So, I mean, it's so much easier to talk about this and not have my own kids.
Yeah.
Right? I know. Well,
I know. Wait, one more thing. Can I get a point back for saying I just don't want my kids to be assholes? Like that's a goal.
was that an okay goal?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Just want my kids to be kind. Just know
Yes.
that,
And that's what I mean by not be an asshole. That's code
all right,
for
so listen,
kind.
the cool thing about going back to school as an old guy is I had to do an internship again. Like I'm the dean of students at Texas Tech School of Law, and I'm an intern at a local counseling office.
That's awesome.
And the guy I interned under his name is Michael Gomez. He's at Brown University now. He's a savant. You ever be around people that are so much smarter than you? It's just annoying because you just know, like, it's just like, oh, you just know. And he worked with the most traumatized, abused kids there were. And Hank was really young at the time. And so I was asked his wisdom on veiled attempts at like asking clinical questions, but they're really just parenting questions. I was just trying to get his knowledge. And he's about 10 years younger than me. And one day we were sitting with a kid, and the kid was teaching us this game he used to play with mom and dad. And it was about, how to prepare drugs to use drugs. And this kid was 4, I think. And so, and kids communicate through play. And so we're playing a game, and the kid's teaching us how to take the weed and how to crumble it up and how to roll it. And so we're getting the information that we need from this kid. And then this kid is saying some wild things about women. Like I couldn't believe a 4-year-old was saying some of the crass things he was saying. And so walking from one room to the next and to the next kid, I asked Dr. Gomez, "Hey, how do you teach a kid? What do you say to a child to teach them to respect women?" And he knew exactly what I was asking. I was asking a question about my son, and he said, "You can say whatever you want. They're just going to watch you." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "I mean, you can tell your kid whatever you want, but if you want him to respect women, treat your wife right and tip really well with the waitress and be really kind to your sister. That's going to," and I was like, "Oh, that sucks. You mean they're watching me now too, right?" And so I just want to tell them stuff. So if you want your kids to be kind, be really gracious with the wait staff. You want your kids to be kind when you go to 10-minute oil change and you're stuck in the middle of that line and it's been 55 minutes. Your kid's watching. How's mom going to react now? And you look at that poor minimum wage person coming and changing oil, and it's not their fault, and I'm not going to take it out on them. My poor planning, I only left exactly enough time, right? So I'm going to show them how to be kind, and your kids they'll be kind.
Even if you've been on hold with customer service for an hour. Come on, John. Jeez. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're right. You're off. This has been amazing.
Yeah.
Can we have you back sometime?
Anytime. I love it.
Julie, do you have anything else before we wrap? I mean, seriously, you were awesome.
We can get weird if you want to.
I think we've established that this is kind of what we do.
It's been so good, and that's what we do. Like we have real conversations about life and marriage and kids and navigating all the sports and navigating work. We could talk to you for hours, but we're so thankful for your time.
Yeah, and what we want to do. So we have an official spiritual advisor of the Mom Game. He's my pastor, Lance Marshall. But I would like to, if this is totally impromptu, I'd like to ask if you will be the official mental health
expert.
Yes, expert. advisor,
life advisor
of the mom game.
Done.
Okay, you
Done.
can feel free to add that to your Instagram account, resume,
I absolutely will.
whatever you'd like to do. But seriously, I do want to have you back.
What the world needs is more men telling women how they should be improving as moms, and so that's what the world needs right now.
God, I love your self-awareness, though.
Right?
God,
and it
you're
doesn't
awesome.
even matter, man, woman, whatever. What you said,
I know.
hits hard and hits.
No, I appreciate you.
Yeah. No.
Thank y'all for.
Yeah, we're okay.
having
What
these
about
hard conversations.
let us help you pimp your book? Like, don't you have a
Book,
book,
show,
whatever?
how can people
Tell us.
find
yes.
You can go to @JohnDelony. That's me on the internets, and I host the Dr. John Delony show, and I co-host the Ramsey show with Dave Ramsey a couple times a week. And you can the book, best-selling book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. You can pick that up at Target or anywhere else, on Amazon or at RamseySolutions.com.
I would. You know who else I'd love to? I would love to have your wife on. I would love to have your wife on.
She is an absolute gangster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big fan of gangsters. Yeah.
She's
Let's
awesome.
have her
She's
on.
awesome.
Okay. So I know that you are not a frequent viewer of the mom game. This is episode
It's in my top three.
150, 155. I think you're short like 154. But the way we end our shows is you look into your camera on your computer, we throw up the peace signs because we are gangster, and we say mom game out. So if you would do us the favor of exiting our show in that way, we would be so appreciative.
I'm 100% in.
On the count of three, 1, 2, 3, mom.
Mom game out.
Out.